I was told once that we all need to plant trees even if we're never going to sit under them. And to me, that translates to the idea that, you know, sometimes we have to help people. If for no other reason, then it's the right thing to do, which is exactly what we're going to do here in this space, belonging to the Seeds of Hope Foundation. My name is Carson Arthur. With the help of the Green Force team, we're going to turn this barren backyard into a sanctuary, one that's perfect for starting over.
Seeds of Hope Foundation, it's recovery housing for men, and it started originally about 2 years ago. They use compassion and accessibility and help them find different things, and it helps them move on to better things, working, school, you know, healing. Our yard is, don't you love our yard?
Everyone can just see whatever's going on. There's absolutely no privacy back there for us at all.
It's just grass and weeds and just a fence there. Most times, you know, the guys will sit out front.
So for Carson and Green Force to come in, he's got a vision and he saw it better than I did. Oh, I am so looking forward to seeing his design. Absolutely. Welcome to our yard.
Yeah.
Don't you love our space? We've got so much of the cement, which is just random.
Right.
The bushes are all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this for 2 years. This is as good as it's got.
Okay.
Because there have been much more important things to be dealt with, like getting someone to bed or doing one-on-ones and helping them through some serious issues, it didn't quite get the attention it deserved or needed.
Okay. How do you want this space being used then?
Well, they can have their families over, they can have friends over, one-on-ones, group discussion.
You can't be in a space for reflection or even having family out here comfortably with that.
We have nice neighbors, but no privacy.
Then that's exactly what we're gonna do. We'll clean the slate. I'm gonna put dining, conversational seating. I'm gonna address the privacy issue for you, and then I'm gonna fill everything else with plants. I'm almost gonna treat this as if it was my own backyard.
Woohoo!
And then it's gonna turn out perfect.
Awesome.
Now this is what I've envisioned for your space.
Start at square one, go for it.
All right, this is the original pathway, but I've increased the size. I'm replacing the concrete with interlock.
Okay.
Keep it clean, keep it simple. I've got 2 seating areas planned. So on this side, I'm gonna do a deck. Now I wanna do it slightly raised to just set it aside a little bit more and make it standalone. This seating area is a little bit different. Anywhere in the garden, this is the one spot that has probably the least amount of privacy. So I'm planning a big pergola. But I'm planning to put panels of fabric in it so that when you look up, you see some of the wood, but you also see the fabric.
Nice.
And visually that will block the apartment building up top.
Breaks it up.
Yeah, it breaks it up. My biggest design challenge at the shelter is the fact that there's absolutely no privacy in the backyard. And no matter how big a fence I put up, I can't take away the fact that those apartment buildings look right into the space. So to solve this, I'm taking my inspiration from this covered walkway. Now there are 2 very large buildings that look into this space, but you don't notice them because your eyes have something to focus on. And this is the same landscaping technique I'm going to use.
Awesome. Okay.
The other thing that I'm adding to the space is a row of trees here.
Some more intimacy.
More intimacy.
Awesome.
The rest of the space is going to be very plant heavy. I'm also going to put in flowers. And then in this area here, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to grow these.
Tomatoes.
Oh, you know those?
Zebra tomato.
Wow.
Absolutely. That'd be great, yeah.
Then with your approval, we can pretty much go ahead and start to break ground.
Let's do it. It's just this really nice oasis of calmness and serenity. He was listening and looks like he did what we asked for.
Now that we have Denise's approval, it's time for the Green Force team to start ripping out the existing garden.
So this is the design I was thinking about, okay? So we need to do 2 different areas. This is dining, because this is where I'm thinking it's going to be more of a group seating area, but this is going to be more one-on-one. But I'd like them at different elevations just to even increase the separation. So I was thinking that if that section there is deck, we can raise it up a little bit and over top of the roots of that tree.
Okay.
And then this area, we'll do the pergola right here, but we'll do it in over top of interlock. We're trying to give as much privacy as possible from that thing.
Now, what sort of material do you want to use for the walkway here?
I was thinking random pattern, because that's pretty intense right now.
Yeah.
And there's not really a lot of interlock that's going to match that well.
What are these square boxes here?
Those are tomato planters. Don't they look like tomato planters? But I'm going to customize it for this space specifically.
Looks like fun.
You started, now you have to just finish it. garden at the Seeds of Hope Rehabilitation Center, I've got 3 specific trees I need to choose for 3 very specific reasons. Now the first is the issue of privacy, and to address that, I'm going with a columnar variety of tree. Now columnar trees grow vertical, not horizontal, which means they get nice and tall, but they never really get very wide, which makes them perfect right beside the pergola. My second tree selection for this garden is this ivory silk lilac. Now I'm using it to hide that big white spot on the side of the building where the windows used to be and all of the brick underneath. It also blooms. The final reason I've chosen this tree is because it's a hybrid, unlike my final selection over here. My final tree selection are these weeping crab apples. In the spring, they're covered in blooms. In the summer, they have this great shape and the leaves are two-tone, red on the bottom and green on top. And in the fall, they have berries. The one thing you have to remember though, put these away from your house or patio because the birds love to eat the fruit, and that's not always a good thing. That's why in my design, these trees are filling up the back of the garden. But I was a little worried. There hasn't been the best reputation of wood coming out of South America right now. So,
Yeah, it's nice.
that's not the enthusiasm I was hoping for.
I was just expecting a little more color.
The Green Forest team is helping out the Our Homes Association with their backyard. We've removed all of the cement and the weedy grass and are replacing it with a raised dining area, a vegetable garden, and most importantly an arbor that will help with their privacy issues. Now I'm off to the fabric store to find the perfect material that will weave itself through the new arbor.
I can't believe the color saturation. I mean, look at that.
Aren't they beautiful? It's actually 100% acrylic. It's solution dyed.
So will it fade a little bit then?
The color is always coming through. So to your eye, you never really see it fade.
All right, so my challenge here is I'm doing something overhead. I'm actually going to be putting fabric panels in a pergola, but I want that to be more the shade and more for the privacy.
You could probably go to something very neutral like this.
That light.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's great for me because I was kind of hoping that I could go lighter because the dark is really nice, but I was just thinking dark overhead is gonna make the space feel a lot darker. So let's go with this fabric, and I need a lot of it.
We've got a lot of yardage.
Let's go get some fabric.
Great.
I'm planning to combine a bunch of different plants for the garden at the Rehabilitation Center. I'm gonna use perennials, herbs like thyme and sage, and some vegetables. I'm gonna grow heirloom tomatoes, but I'm not gonna grow them like this. In fact, in my project, I'm gonna grow the tomato plant like this. Should be fun trying to fool gravity. Today is the day we start laying out the bones of the garden. We're gonna put down our interlock pathway and we're gonna have all the interlock laid out to build the patio underneath the pergola. Today is really the first day that this garden is gonna start to look like the design that I envisioned for it. I'll be honest with you, the first time I saw this wood at the home show, I was blown away by the graining. This is stunning.
It's a fast-growing tree, and it's the most popular species in all of Central and South America. It's not an endangered species. It grows in high rocky altitudes, not part of the rainforest. They essentially petrify the wood, so it's virtually non-biodegradable in our climate.
And issues with carpenter ants, termites, anything like that?
It's too dense, too hard for that.
That's phenomenal, and it looks this good. Although I was a little freaked out when I saw how thin these deck boards were. I'm a big guy.
This is all you need. You could span this 1-inch deck board 24 inches on center. So if you had it thicker, it's really overkill. It's just wasting wood. There are a number of stains manufactured that will penetrate this hardwood. It'll actually just jump out and come to life once you put that coating on.
Okay. Now we're starting to put in other elements like the deck and the patio. This is a really good chance for Denise to come and see it to make sure that she approves of everything that's happened. Watch your step there though, okay? So, you have a new pathway?
Nice.
Just nice? Yeah, I thought you'd be more excited.
It is, it's great. I was just expecting a little more color, but
If you look at the color of the house, that's a fairly intense red. The pergola, you can see the wood for that's over there, and that's a really intense color as well.
it's gorgeous.
And the deck is gonna have this wood on it.
It's great, it's gorgeous.
So this, with that and that, it's almost too much.
Yeah, so it explains the color.
The walkway had to be neutral.
I knew there had to be a reason.
So as you come along, this will all be deck with bench, and on here's the dining set, like we talked about.
Yep.
So it's a nice, decent size, but then that's gonna have a nice flow over here into this patio. And then see the little holes on the 4 corners?
Yep.
That's where the posts for the pergola are gonna be. And those massive beams,
They're gorgeous.
they're going across the top, and they're the front face. So this thing is very, very substantial.
Those are huge.
It's got the fabric woven through,
Yeah.
right? So it'll hide all the windows above us.
Yeah.
And then it's got the columnar oaks on the one side. And by enclosing the area, you create
Privacy.
Yes, exactly. I'm pretty sure that Denise thinks this space is amazing. In fact, I believe her word was awesome.
It's awesome. 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 Definitely, yeah.
This has been a drastic change already, and this is only halfway. And then this area is gonna be your garden. So this will be all planted.
Awesome.
Then as long as you're feeling good about this, we're basically on schedule.
I'm just so looking forward to it being done.
Then you know what this means.
I leave.
Yeah. And this time don't peek. Get out of this garden.
That is a big grinder. I don't want to really meet that.
No.
What are you doing? Doesn't that take forever? I mean, that's old school.
The Green Force team and I are creating a privacy garden for the Our Homes Association. We've ripped out their old backyard and are well on our way to creating a beautiful tiger wood deck for dining, a large arbor for shade and privacy, and finally a vegetable garden complete with an upside-down tomato planter. As I mentioned before, in this garden, I'm planning to grow my tomato plants upside down, and I'm doing it for a few very good reasons. Now, this is what happens when you don't stake your tomatoes and you've planted them in the soil or in the garden. They fall over. Now, tomatoes are really susceptible to insect damage, and having it close to the ground just makes it easier for them. Tomatoes are also really susceptible to fungus and to rot. By hanging the plant upside down, the wind can get through and dry off the leaves, which avoids fungus. The tomatoes themselves never touch the soil, so they don't rot, and the bugs can't reach the plant in the air. The thing to make this work, though, is you need a very special type of planter, and I'm going to show you how to build it. For this project, you're going to need the following materials. You need dimensional lumber to build your plant stand, you need fence spikes to hold it in the ground, you need buckets to actually grow the tomatoes in, and in this case, I found these ones on the side of a hill, so we're going to repurpose them. You also need filter cloth, soil, and the tomato plants themselves. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to build a plant stand that's about 5 feet tall. Now, I go with 5 feet because that allows the tomatoes themselves to grow about 3 feet, and that seems to be a fairly consistent height. Once you've built your stand, you're going to cut holes in the bottom of your pails. Now, this is the technical part of the project. When you put your tomatoes in, make sure the leaves are on the outside of the pail. Basically, you put the soil inside, you wrap the filter cloth around it, you flip the pail upside down, and then you fill the rest of it with the growing medium. It's a very easy project to do and one that's very effective. The hardest part really is building it. Now you can see what this project is supposed to look like. We've got upside down planted tomatoes. You can water the roots from the top down, which means you get better saturation. You'll also notice that I've painted the pails and I'm staining the frame, because even though this is a functional element in the garden, it still has to look good. Today's going to be an incredibly busy day in this garden. The Green Force team has to wrap up every single project. It is going to be very, very hectic. And while all of that is going on, I have to go out and source the organic material to amend the soil. Well, I said I wanted some organic matter for this garden, and apparently I've come to the right place. I just hope my truck's big enough to move this pile. So then what's all in this?
Basically, it's leaf and yard waste that comes out of gardens. The material is ground down into a finer particle.
Using that grinder right there?
Through the grinder, yeah.
That is a big grinder. I don't want to really meet that.
No.
What do you do with things like this? I know if somebody threw a plastic pail.
Because we receive so much material, it's hard to sort through the plastic.
Then if somebody put this in their brown paper bag, it would basically be ground up.
Well, hopefully not. We do have some mechanisms to prevent that.
Well, I'll take this one with me.
Okay.
Why don't you show me a windrow?
All right, let's go over here.
This is what happens after the grinder gets a hold of it? And then it naturally just sits there and starts breaking down, or what happens?
Well, we'll actually turn it several times through the process with a windrow turner. The only thing we really have to add is water. Because it's such a hot process, the microbes are giving off so much energy that they need that extra water in the pile.
And then this just sits here for how long?
Between 4 to 6 months. After that, we'll start to screen it.
And that's that pile over there?
That is that pile over there.
Okay, let's go look at that then. Then this is a finished product?
This is a finished green product, but it's still not ready for market. We're gonna have to let it sit here for another 4 to 8 months.
Really? So 3 easy steps, but a long time.
It's like a fine wine, you gotta let it age.
Nice, that's a good analogy. Then the stuff that I'm gonna get from my garden is gonna be better than this?
Better, full of nutrients and good microbes.
So lots of this stuff, none of the plastic?
None of the plastic.
That's what I wanna hear.
All right.
This is my favorite time of any makeover, when we start bringing in the trees and plants, and this backyard becomes a garden.
Now we're starting to get some privacy in this garden, and you can see why I chose these columnar oaks to create it. They take away the entire first floor of the apartment building.
And once this pergola is done with the fabric panels hanging in it, you won't see any of the apartments above you at all. It'll feel like this is a contained area. You'll also notice that the big green hedge is gone. It really closed in this space, but I replaced it with a ton of plants. Now there's a lot more green here, but what ends up happening is there's all kinds of textures and colors, which makes it visually appealing. Also visually interesting is this patio, because it creates the bones of the entire yard. It really frames out each of the elements and connects them at the same time. Specifically, the tiger deck and this pergola. Now you'll also notice that I match the color of the stain to the color of the wood, and this is really important because these are the focal points in this garden. But we've softened the look of all of the wood using shrubs and perennials, all planted in that fantastic organic matter. All we have left to do here is finish the job. What are you doing?
Notching out this beam.
Doesn't that take forever? I mean, that's old school.
It's very time consuming, but it makes for a really strong structure.
You can put dovetail joints and miter joints and all of these really simple looking systems in place that make something stronger and last forever. How many more of these do you have left to do?
About 13.
You're gonna be here forever. Keep going.
See ya.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the fabric that I'm gonna use. Now those are the middle panels, okay? So we'll put that one in first so we can get the spacing for the other two panels on each side.
Okay.
All right, and I wanna do the seam side up, because then when you're looking up at it, you don't see any of the stitching, yeah. But in this case, all we're trying to hide is that building and a little bit of privacy on that end. So I won't worry too much about the overhang here. So if you start at that end, I'll grab another ladder and I'll be here so you can pass it to me and we just keep going. How cool is that?
I have a seat.
Okay, look at your space. I think Denise was a little bit overwhelmed with the experience. It just means so much to her and to everybody she represents.
Sorry.
Green Force has taken a neglected garden and created a backyard oasis. Originally, this space was underutilized and totally overshadowed by a neighboring apartment building. But after a complete redesign, it now has a deck area for dining, a large arbor for privacy, and a vegetable garden with upside-down tomato plants. With just a few final touches left, this space will be ready to show Denise and the clients of the Our Homes Association.
I'm a huge fan of this little shrub in any garden. Now it's called butterfly bush for the very fact that the butterflies love to eat the pollen out of the flowers. This one is special because it's variegated. It has a white trim around each leaf, so that even when this isn't in bloom, it's still interesting to look at. Perfect for beside a patio. I'm really excited about this new form of standard hydrangea. Now you might recognize it from the shrub form. It's called limelight. The reason I'm excited about it is now we have a tree with intensely green flowers. In fact, the color can be even more intensified if you put it in a nitrogen-enriched soil, kind of like the organic matter we brought in. Done on schedule, enough time for me to get cleaned up, and this space is ready for Denise. Don't look, just look down. Okay, look at your space.
Oh. Oh, check it out. It's really all different levels. It's peaceful, it's calm, it's inviting. I'm speechless. This is great, this is great.
Yay! I think Denise was a little bit overwhelmed with the experience. She spends every day trying to make the lives of these gentlemen better. It just means so much to her and to everybody she represents. Okay, now I want you to see this as well.
Whoa! It's perfect.
That whole apartment building just disappeared.
The privacy is amazing.
Starting to
cry? It's gorgeous. Don't, I'll start.
This project's a lot more emotional for me. There are a lot of people that this space is going to impact, and I think we succeeded. So you can see the patio. Obviously, it defines
the stones are beautiful. You were right. They match perfect. They're gorgeous.
And you walked right past that barbecue. Did you even notice it?
Oh, sweet. We get to keep it?
Yeah, that's yours. Everything here is yours.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, I get another hug. Looks a little different, huh? The other thing I want you to see is there's a ton of plant material in here. So I've kind of staged it so that you're gonna get different types of interest at different seasons. And speaking of plants, see that?
Oh, those are the buckets. Tomatoes. Really works.
It really
That's
works?
like so cool.
What does this mean to have a space like this for the guys? Because they had nothing before back here.
No, this what'd you do with our yard? This is a whole different, it shows like so much respect and honoring who they are and who they deserve to be. Someone believed in them. Someone gave them something. It means so much to the guys, to their family, to us. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you. You're welcome. Let's go show them.
Yep.
They waited to see it.
This is not the same backyard. This is excellent. This is really beautiful.
It's a total transformation of the yard. I think it's a space that we're going to enjoy using a lot now. It's just a beautiful place. The gardens look great, and I'm going to enjoy taking care of them.
Just like a small oasis out here for the guys. You know, when people don't have a lot of space for their housing, it's sort of, we're giving people a second chance here.
From the very first time that I heard about all the good work that the Seeds of Hope Foundation does in this very building, I knew exactly what they needed in this space. They needed this yard to become a private sanctuary, whether it's for group work or just personal reflection. And now I'm very happy to say that this backyard is perfect for starting over. My name is Carson Arthur. Thanks for watching.
I'll tell you, it was underutilized. You rarely saw the guys out here.
That was really the reason, to give them some sense of freedom and movement.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, it's very lovely.
Unbelievable. Good job, guys.
Yeah,
good job.
Very nice.
Oh, look, we got the barbecue going here.
I think I'll stay here every night. Should just bunk in.
Yeah, we're just moving in.
Yeah, we're just moving in, you know, it's beautiful.